Have you ever thought about what logic and wine might possibly have in common? It's an unusual question, isn't it? A riddle that might leave you scratching your head. Logic, with its structured rules and precise outcomes, seems a world away from the rich, complex, and unpredictable world of wine. But sometimes, the most unexpected pairings create the most fascinating results. Just as a skilled sommelier can find the perfect wine to complement a meal, we can find surprising connections between seemingly disparate things through logic. It's all about understanding the underlying principles, the hidden threads that tie everything together. It's about looking beyond the surface, peeling back the layers, and uncovering the patterns that lie beneath. So, let's take a journey together, a journey into the intriguing world where logic and wine intersect. Let's explore the connections, the patterns, the unexpected links between these two fascinating worlds. Hold on to your seats as we unravel the mystery of logic and wine. You might wonder, what exactly is logic? This seemingly simple question has a profound answer. Logic, in its basic sense, is the process of reasoning conducted according to strict principles of validity. It's the mental muscle that allows us to process information, draw conclusions, and make decisions. Think of logic as the invisible thread that stitches the fabric of our understanding together. It's the tool that allows us to navigate through the labyrinth of life. Whether we're trying to solve a complex mathematical problem, make a critical decision at work, or simply figure out the quickest route to the grocery store, we're using logic. But logic is not just limited to high-stakes scenarios or academic pursuits. It's in the everyday moments, the mundane tasks, the decisions we make without even realizing. When you're cooking, for instance, you're using logic to figure out the sequence of steps, the amount of each ingredient to use, and the cooking time required. Even the simple act of crossing the street requires logic. You look left, then right. If cars are coming from either direction, you wait. If not, you cross. This is logic in action, observing, processing, and acting based on the information at hand. Logic is like the compass of the mind, guiding us through the sea of information that we encounter every day. It's the basis for all scientific discoveries, all technological advancements, all philosophical debates. It's the cornerstone of critical thinking, the key to understanding not just the world around us, but also our inner selves. So why is logic important in our lives? Because without it, we would be like a ship adrift at sea, directionless and vulnerable. Logic gives us the ability to discern truth from falsehood, to make informed decisions, to solve problems, and to understand the world in a rational, coherent way. So logic, in essence, is the framework that helps us make sense of the world around us. Through logic, we shape our understanding, our actions, and ultimately, our lives. It's the silent partner in every decision we make, the invisible hand guiding us towards truth and clarity. And that, my friends, is the essence of logic. How does logic fit into mathematics, you ask? Well, it's a question that sparks a fascinating journey into the heart of numbers and reasoning. Logic is the invisible bond that ties together the entire fabric of mathematics. It's the foundation upon which mathematical theories are built, the instrument that allows mathematicians to navigate the vast seas of numbers and equations. Imagine logic as the compass guiding us through the dense jungle of mathematical problems. It helps us discern truth from falsehood, enabling us to make valid inferences and deduce accurate conclusions. With logic, we can construct mathematical proofs, those irrefutable arguments that serve as the backbone of every mathematical theorem. It's like a silent conductor orchestrating every move in a grand symphony of numbers. Logic provides the rules, the structure, and the framework within which the melody of mathematics unfolds. In essence, without logic, mathematics as we know it would collapse. Now, let's move on to something more refreshing. What about wine? Just like a well-reasoned argument, a great bottle of wine is the product of a meticulous and calculated process. It starts with the selection of the right grapes. The type of grape, the soil it's grown in, the climate, and the time of harvest all play a crucial role. This is where logic comes into play. Every decision is carefully considered to ensure the best possible outcome, much like how we use logic to make decisions in our daily lives. Once the grapes are harvested, they go through the process of fermentation. This is where the natural sugars in the grapes are converted into alcohol. Here again, logic is key. The fermentation process must be carefully monitored to ensure the right balance of flavors. Too much or too little fermentation can drastically affect the taste of the wine. After fermentation, the wine is aged. This process can take anywhere from a few months to several years. The length of time the wine is aged, as well as the type of barrel it's aged in, can have a significant impact on the flavor of the wine. Winemakers use logic and experience to determine the optimal aging process for each type of wine. Finally, the wine is bottled. This may seem like a simple step, but it's actually quite complex. The type of bottle, the type of cork, and even the label can all affect the perception of the wine. Just like a well-crafted argument, the presentation of the wine is just as important as the substance. So, the next time you enjoy a glass of wine, take a moment to appreciate the logical process that went into making it. From the selection of the grapes to the bottling process, every step is a testament to the power and beauty of logic. Wine, like logic, is a product of a systematic process. So, we've talked about logic and wine separately, but how do they connect? Let's dive into a thought-provoking scenario that beautifully marries these two concepts: the wine and water paradox. Imagine you have two glasses, one full of wine and the other full of water. You take a teaspoon of wine and mix it into the water. Then you take a teaspoon of this mixture and put it back into the wine glass. The question is, which is more, the amount of wine in the water glass or the amount of water in the wine glass? At first glance you might think the answer is obvious, but this is where logic steps in and throws a curveball. The answer, surprisingly, is that they're equal. But how is this possible, you might ask? Well, let's break it down. When you first take a teaspoon of wine and mix it with the water, you're introducing a certain volume of wine into the water. Then, when you take a spoon of this mixture back, you're not just taking pure water, you're taking a mixture that contains some of that wine. So when you pour this spoonful back into the wine glass, you are returning some of the wine along with the water. And here's the kicker. Every time you take a spoon from one glass to the other, there's always the same total volume in both glasses. This means that if there's less of one liquid in a glass, there must be more of it in the other. So the amount of wine in the water glass must equal the amount of water in the wine glass. This paradox beautifully illustrates how logic can turn the tables on our initial intuition, forcing us to reevaluate our assumptions and approach the situation from a different perspective. And this, my friends, is the fascinating link between logic and wine. As we wind up, let's reflect on our unusual pairing. This journey has taken us through the vineyards of logic, where we've seen the exquisite blend of wine and reason. We've discovered that logic isn't just confined to dusty academic halls or dry mathematical equations. Instead, it's a vibrant living concept that weaves its way through everything, including the seemingly unrelated world of wine. We started our journey by pondering this unusual combination, where we saw that the essence of logic is all about establishing relationships and making connections, much like the delicate balance of flavors in a fine wine. We then explored the invisible bond that links logic and wine together, revealing the mathematical tricks that can be performed using nothing more than playing cards and a glass of your favorite beverage. We raised a toast to logic, appreciating its role in understanding the world around us. We saw how logic could help us understand complex phenomena, such as liquid displacement and volume, making even the most complicated concepts accessible and enjoyable. Our path then led us to the wine logic paradox, where we learned that pouring wine into another container doesn't always lead to the expected results. This paradox reminded us that logic often challenges our assumptions, pushing us to think beyond the obvious. As we savored the taste of logic, we discovered that it's not just a tool for mathematicians or scientists. Instead, it's a vital part of our everyday lives, helping us make sense of the world around us and allowing us to engage in fun and educational games. So, as we conclude our journey, let's remember the key message. Logic is everywhere, even in the most unexpected places. It's in the way we think, the decisions we make, and yes, even in the wine we drink. Next time you sip your wine, remember there's a dash of logic in every drop.